Boys and girls of every age, come with us and read something strange. Come with us and you shall see something weird and something spooky. Woo!
That was brilliant. Thank you so much. Round of applause. Yay!
It is Jess.
My name is Hannah.
And today is the grand finale of Spooky Month. Woo!
Woo woo!
So if you've been following along the past month or so, you know that we have been doing an October readathon. We had a prompt for each week. We let you guys know what books we were going to read for each prompt. And so now we're just going to talk about it. Some people followed along. Some people might have and are just keeping secrets. I don't know. But either way, this is the debrief, the recap, the wrap up.
Yeah, we're here for it. We have thoughts. We have opinions.
We certainly do.
Some reading for sure. We've done some DNFing. Sneak peek.
Mm-hmm.
But first, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm drinking a coffee. My bangs are banging today, so I'm feeling good about that. And yeah, I'm going to go pet some dogs later. How about you? How's your day?
Lovely. Nice. I'm doing pretty good. I just got home. I went to Winnipeg for the weekend. Saw my family. So that was nice. Bittersweet because there was a death in my family, and so I was just going for the celebration of life and everything. And it was good to see everyone, even if I wish it were under different circumstances. It was just like a nice little reset for me to see everyone.
Bonding time.
Get like a million hugs. For anyone who doesn't know, my family's huge. My family's huge and very close knit. Like I've seen a lot of like jokes online and stuff about like the family reunion about your like third cousin that you don't even know their name. No, I know all of my third cousins, and everyone remembers birthdays and like it's all very close. So it was cool to go home and see everyone.
Cute.
I may also get a coffee because coffee, for whatever reason, just like really like calms everything in my head down.
You and coffee just like had an awakening together, didn't you?
Yeah. Because caffeine apparently it gets a stimulant, but it doesn't do that to me at all. It like totally.
It's because you're already so stimmed.
Yeah, I guess.
Has the opposite effect, which is nice.
Yeah. So I can like really focus because I have a lot to get done today, but we're feeling optimistic and we're going to do it.
We're girl bossing through it. We're doing it.
We are girl bossing through it. So
yay.
Yeah, that's what I got going on. And I'm recording today, which is always fun because then I can see your sweet face. Aww. And your bangs are banging today.
Thank you. I got new product.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we're very
when
excited.
That happens. Mm-hmm. You just find a product that like unlocks the key.
Yeah. It's just like, where have you been? Yeah. Well, you know what other kind of products I like to buy constantly?
I love this bit you're doing.
Reading products.
Reading materials.
Yeah.
Books, if you will.
Books, if you will. A novel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, on that segue.
That blatant segue.
Segue. Yes.
Yeah.
Spookily Yours by Jennifer Chipman. This was our week 1. The prompt was a book with a cat, a moon, and or a pumpkin on the cover. And this one, I think it had all 3.
It has all 3 because I popped off.
Yeah. Yeah, you went, okay, checking every box.
Yeah. Overachiever here.
Mm-hmm. And this was the book that actually prompted us to match our reading because she was like, oh, yeah, it's a girl that falls in love with a demon cat. And I was just like, you know what? I kind of want to give it a try. And then we just went, okay, well, let's just match them all.
Yep. Let's just do the whole readathon together.
Exactly. So it was buddy read after buddy read this month. But yeah, do you want to give us a description?
Yeah, so I'm just going to read the descriptions. Again, I get all of my descriptions from Storygraph because that is the tracking app that I use for my reading, and it has like every edition of every book ever and all the descriptions on it. So that's where I get them from. And so the description for Spookily Yours that's on here is excuse me. My cat is a demon. No, that's not a joke. An actual real-life demon, and he needs my help to break a curse. But what happens when that turns into more? It can never be forever, and yet I'm falling in love with him anyways.
Was that the whole description?
Yeah, that's the whole description. Hey guys, I have a demon cat, falling in love with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Got it.
To be clear, I want to preface this and say that she didn't fall in love with him while he was a cat. just to start there.
Well, different kind of love.
He did turn into a man. Yes.
Yeah. I would like to do a little disclaimer first of all. The way we're going to do this is we're going to read the description, and then after that, all bets are off on spoilers. Of course, this is a spoiler episode. Okay, so you had all month to read these books.
Yeah, if you were going to follow along, you had your chance.
Yeah, now it's too late, and now we're going to talk about it. So,
yeah,
there we go. And that goes for all of the books.
Yeah. So that's the description. My cat's a demon, falling in love with him.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
My first thought was, so he knows what she's thinking, but he can't read her mind? Sure, Damien. So, yeah, that was literally just the first note that I made about the book in general, where it's just like, I think he's lying to her.
Oh, okay. I love how that is where you started of all the things.
Yeah.
That's where you started. Not that she's a witch, not that like nothing.
Oh yeah, it's very pumpkin spice coated. They live in like the most like, you know, that town that is known for Mothman and they lean into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but for pumpkins.
Pumpkins and witches and witchcraft.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
just to set the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he told her that he couldn't read her mind, but then he'd respond to things that she was thinking. And I was like, something's fishy.
Yeah, so, yeah. I'll tell you, do you want me to tell you what I think and respond now, or do you want me to wait till you're done and then respond? Because I know what that's about.
Well, obviously I do too. I read the whole book.
Yeah.
I got there. I figured it out.
That was foreshadowing for a real one.
Yeah. Looking back, I get it.
Because he wasn't lying. He doesn't have the power to read minds. It's just that all of a sudden he was hearing her thoughts and going, what?
Mm-hmm.
Also, for a while, I think that he thought that she was speaking out loud.
Oh, really?
Because he wasn't looking at her when it would happen sometimes. So he thought that she was speaking out loud.
I could see it. But yeah, this was definitely my intro to fated mates.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't a bad one, actually.
No, it was really cute.
Yeah.
Like, they were both subconsciously possessive of each other right from the start. Even when he was a cat, he was, like, possessive of her. And he was like, that's my little witch, my human, my little witch.
Mm-hmm. That's the pet name. There's always a pet name.
Oh, yeah.
In the one I just read, the pet name was Doll.
Yeah, and that just, like, continues throughout all of it. And that I thought was... Oh,
yeah. They always have a pet name. I've read one, like, there was one that was Little Mouse. There was one that, the one I just read was Doll. There's another one where it's Flower. Like, there's always a pet name that he has for her. Well, that he just picks.
Little Witch was a cute one.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember the specific scenario which this note was about, but you'll understand the context as I read it.
Okay.
And if you're a dad, no, you're not.
If you're hearing this, no, you're not. If you're anyone we know, you're not listening.
Yeah. Because if you haven't picked up on that, this book does have spice. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's a smut book for real.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I am overjoyed that you are starting to get into smut books.
I'm dipping my toes.
And romance.
I'm dipping my toes.
Yeah, it's just a fun time.
Yeah. So my note is in all caps. okay, hot, period. And aftercare, the bath in the morning, and he washed her hair for her. Swoon. My favorite thing is having my hair washed by somebody else.
Me too. Me too.
So good. So good. That is love.
Yeah, there's like an intimacy to it.
Yeah. Straight up.
Yep. Welcome to romance written by women.
Yeah. As soon as he washed her hair for her, I was like, okay, I'm in. It's like, I'm done. I'm sold. I'm here. I'm in it.
Yay. I'm so excited. Girl, do I have Rex for you?
And he literally purrs when he's around her because he's a cat, but he's a man, but he still purrs.
Yeah, because demons, fae, like anything like shifter like that, usually they have like a set alternate form. This guy's set alternate form is a black cat, and often with the alternate form, like some of the traits carry over. Like I read one where there was this fae who his animal form was like a silver hawk, but when he was in his like man form, his sight was really good still. Nice. And stuff like that. So that's normal. Like usually it carries over a little bit.
How cute was that?
Yeah. Adorable.
Yeah. So overall, I liked it more than I thought I would. I believe I gave it 4 stars.
Wow. I was not expecting that from you.
I wasn't either. Like, especially because I was like, okay, like the overly dramatically stereotyped town. I was like, whatever, okay, whatever. Like the everything pumpkin. Willow is like obsessed with sweets and pumpkin. And it's like, okay,
makes
pumpkin
it her whole
cookies,
personality.
Pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice latte, pumpkin cookies, everything. And like, I even have a quote here that says, I fucking loved her addiction to pumpkin. Maybe I just plain loved her. Page 159.
I love that line. That was so cute.
Wasn't it cute? Another pumpkin related quote is, we were supposed to be carving pumpkins, not christening the kitchen table. Page 124.
Yeah, I liked that one a lot too.
Yeah.
There's often, a lot of humor in like romances like that, or like in smutty romance novels. There's a reason that romance is the top selling genre ever worldwide.
Makes sense. I can understand it. I have one last quote for this book, and it's from page 204, so like really close to the end of the book, so it's not that long. And Willow was about to tell him that she loved him, and he stopped her, and he says, I want to say it first. Swoon.
Yeah. This was definitely a he falls first, she falls harder situation.
Oh, and I did make a note here. Okay, hang on. I do have an overall thoughts note. I forgot I did that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, tell me about it.
The beginning was stereotypical cringy as I imagined it would be. However, knowing that there was upcoming spice did make it easier to get through. It's like a reward. I enjoyed the characters, how over-the-top witchy Willow was, and how cat-like Damien was, even in human form. I felt like Luna ended up already having been dating Zane is a convenient write-off, but fine, I guess. I was expecting a big, bloody brother v. brother battle, but that's just fine, too. So that's where it lost the star for me, was I didn't get
me too.
any fighting, but... Overall, I really liked it.
You wanted the fighting. Yeah. Okay. I agree pretty much with all of that. I don't really care that there's no fighting. My problem was that because, okay, I'm pretty sure that this is supposed to be a series. And so the weird thing with the sister and Damien's Demon King brother is meant to be a setup for the next book. Because I'm pretty sure the next book is their book. Yeah. And it's like an interconnected standalones thing. But I didn't like that either, about how like it was just like all of a sudden she's engaged to this really Demon King. Yeah. And they were like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And like the sister was like, yeah, no, this is fine. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
And it's like, we were worried for your life. We thought you were dead.
Yeah.
But
like, what?
fine, go get some dick, I guess. Like,
yeah, like she's just like, yeah, no, it's cool. I'm just gonna move to the underworld and be a demon queen. It's cool. Like,
yeah.
what?
I was like, okay.
Like there must have been something else going on the whole time.
Yeah, like they said that she had met him previously and all that, and I was just like, huh, sure.
Yeah. I'm like, I didn't like that either. And I didn't like that they were like, they went in there guns blazing, ready to rescue her. Yeah. And she's just like, no, I'm cool.
Like, I'm good.
Okay, tell someone where you're going.
Yeah, communicate.
Tell someone where you're going.
Literally,
don't just like disappear into the like. Okay, hold on. Like if a demon just pops into my living room and is like, "Hey, you're my mate. You got to come back to the underworld with me." I'm gonna be like, "No, I'm calling the police."
you would at least tell me.
Like, no, yeah, exactly. I would at least be like, "Hey, girl,
go into the demon realm."
Yeah,
oh my god!
Like, send a text. Like,
yeah,
don't let your sister think that you've died. Yeah, take 30 seconds, send a message.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, BT dubs, just going to the underworld.
Save lives, send a text.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. And we actually did have one person follow along with all of our books, which was incredibly exciting. So my uncle's fiance, Michelle, she read all the same books as we did. She followed our recommendations. And so I've just got a little blurb for each of the books from her that we thought it'd be fun. We had someone participate. So exciting. Thank you so much, by the way. We are very indebted.
Shout out, Michelle.
Shout out, Michelle. And so for Spookily Yours, she says, I thought Spookily Yours was a really cute seasonal romance with some fun, spicy bits. It felt very much like a holiday Hallmark romance, just in book form. True. Willow has the life I'd have wished for myself. Sadly, I lack all manner of power. I would say that the story felt rushed in parts, which resulted in some eye-rolling. I get that the whole idea was that they only had a month to get to know each other, but also how fast the forever part came felt a little Twilighty. Pregnancy is my least favorite ending, personal choice, which took me out of the ending. Overall, a cute, easy read that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, a lot of people have a problem with the fated mates trope because of like the insta-love, because it's not believable. So yeah, I agree. It's literally just like a holiday seasonal romance Hallmark. For what it was good in the genre it was in. I liked the writing style as well. I found it really easy to get through, easy to follow, and I also just really liked the main characters both individually, which is weird for me.
Yeah, usually one is better than the other.
Yeah, there's one I think is an idiot, and then the other one I absolutely fall in love with. But no, I liked them both. Like Willow is just so like sweet and lovely, and like it's cool to see. As another thing that a lot of romance and fated mates romance falls prey to is, oh, my life was empty until he showed up and I just like needed someone or whatever. She's not like that at all. Like she's like totally finding confidence.
She started a business with her sister and she's like, I don't know if this is what I want to do forever, but like I'm still really proud that I've done it.
Yeah, like she's just doing her thing. She's like totally just like confident and, you know, is just sort of
just a little lonely.
Yeah, where she's going to take her life. She's like, maybe I'll get a cat.
Yeah. and then she did, and then she eventually fucked him.
Not while being a cat. I feel like we need to make that so clear. Not while he's a cat. But yeah. Oh, and then the shadow magic.
Oh my God.
Again, if you're a dad and you're listening to this, no, you're not.
This was my first time reading anything like that.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So the book talk girlies, the bookstagram girlies, that we have, I say we, I wasn't involved in this, but the book talk community has coined the term shadow daddy for these male main character love interests who have shadow magic.
I had heard the term on Bookstagram.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it.
You didn't know what it meant.
I get it now.
Yeah, because nobody ever explains. It's one of those, like, the girls that get it, and the girls that don't. Like,
yeah, I didn't, but now I do, and I'm on board.
I'm so happy for you. Again, boy, do I have Rex for you. I'm so glad.
Oh my god. Eventually we're gonna have to like do like a little reading list.
Oh yeah. Listen, I already have, because I planned the podcast till April. I already have some Valentine's Day month, February Hannah's Unhinged romance book list episode plans. So
it's gonna
we'll
be
get
good.
there. But this is just like sneak peek of just like, because like this kind of thing is ridiculous. Like he's like a demon. Are you kidding me? But it's just fun. It's just for fun.
Yeah.
And so it's just like a good time. And I think I gave it 4 stars as well.
Yeah.
Where it lost a star for me was the weird ending with the sister just like being totally randomly cool with living in the underworld. Didn't like that. It felt really strange and awkward.
Mm-hmm. So we had a very similar experience, I feel.
Yeah. And then I lost a point at some point for like how like rushed everything was. Because like I've read a lot of Fated Mates stuff, and there are ways to do it without it being rushed. Like I've read Fated Mates where they hate each other in the beginning, and then it's like a slow progression over time as they get to know each other. But yeah, this one was definitely a little bit like insta-love and a little bit rushed. Mm-hmm. So it lost like half a point for that of like, that's fair. A bit much. It could have been longer. Like there's no reason for the novel to be as short as it was. Like there could have been more in there to explain this.
I think
like, sort
for
of
my
rush.
first book in that sort of genre, I felt like the length was pretty good for what I needed it to be.
Yeah, because it wasn't a big commitment.
Yeah. It made it less daunting.
Yeah, the interconnected standalones are good for that because like you don't have to read the whole series. You don't have to commit. Because like when you read fantasy romance, it's like an 8-book commitment. 500 plus page books, because like with fantasy romance, there's also the fantasy stuff going on.
Yeah.
There's probably like a war going on or some kind of political intrigue or something happening that just takes up a lot of page space. And so to read fairy smut, quote unquote, another book talk term, it's a commitment. Like A Court of Thorns and Roses is like what, 6 books now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna read it.
Dick ass. Yeah, we will at some point. But
yeah, or like Throne of Glass, 8 books. The last book is almost 1,000 pages long.
Fuck.
I won't make you read that one. I will at some point, but not like
don't lie
not anytime soon. No, you're right. I don't lie. I shouldn't lie. But well, if you really didn't want to, I wouldn't make you. But I think it's a good one for sure.
You would guilt me.
Well, that one I want you to read for different reasons. That one's not about the romance. That's about fantasy.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I digress.
In conclusion,
this one, yeah, good length, and just overall, it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Spookily Yours by Jennifer Chipman. So that was week 1. Week 2 was something centered around either, I believe it was witches or ghosts.
Yeah, a book that features either witches or ghosts.
We chose witches, and we did VenCo by Cherie Dimaline because I know it was one of your auto-buy authors, and this book specifically, it just like kept popping up in my feed for a while. So it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, 'tis the season. Might as well. And it was not at all how I thought it would be. Do you want to talk about it first?
Well, I have to give the descriptions. Let's start there.
Let's start there.
I'll give you the description. It says, Lucky St. James, orphaned daughter of a badass Métis good times girl, is barely hanging on to her nowhere life when she finds out that she and her grandmother Stella are about to be evicted from their apartment. Bad to worse in a heartbeat. Then one night, doing laundry in the building's dank basement, Lucky feels an irresistible something calling to her. Crawling through a hidden hole in the wall, she finds a tarnished silver spoon depicting a storybook hag over letters that spell out Salem, which alerts Salem-born Mina Good, finder of a matching spoon to Lucky's existence. One of the most powerful witches in North America, Mina has been called to bring together 7 special witches and 7 special spoons, infused with magic and scattered to the 4 directions more than a century ago, to form a magic circle that will restore women to their rightful power. Under the wing of the international headhunting firm VenCo, devoted to placing exceptional women in roles where they can influence business, politics, and the arts, Mina has spent years searching out witches hiding in plain sight wherever women gather. Suburban book clubs, mommy and me groups, temp agencies. Lucky and her spoon are number 6. With only one more spoon to find, a very powerful adversary has Mina's coven in his sights. J. Christos, a roguish and deadly witch hunter as old as witchcraft itself. As the clock ticks toward a now or never deadline, Mina sends Lucky and her grandmother on a dangerous, sometimes hilarious road trip through the United States in search of the 7th spoon. The trail leads them at last to the darkly magical city of New Orleans, where Lucky's final showdown with J. Christos will determine whether the coven will be completed, ushering in a new beginning, or whether witches will be forced to remain forever underground.
Yeah.
That sounds so much better than the book was.
Yeah.
Let me just start there.
You know when a movie is like all road trip, like nothing else, they're just always in the car. That is what this felt like to me.
Okay. So, yes, okay. I'm going to just preface this and say a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
First, this book was a DNF for me.
Mm-hmm. We own it.
I DNF'd it at 9%. Now, for me, there's a difference between a soft DNF and a hard DNF. Okay. A soft DNF is like, I just don't want to read this right now. I don't want to, like, it's just, the vibes are not vibing. I'm going to put it down. Maybe I'll pick it back up. Hard DNF is like, absolutely not. No, I'm never reading this again. Mm-hmm. This, for me, was definitely a soft DNF.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. Second thing, I personally love Cherie Dimaline's writing. So this was like kind of disappointing because I love her writing and I love her other books, like The Marrow Thieves by Cherie Dimaline. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so good. Everyone in the world needs to read that, please. Or at least everyone in North America. And so I had such high hopes, and I think that's probably like part of why it just like wasn't doing it for me, because like that was so good and I was expecting this to be like that same level of good. Like obviously it's a different story, but I was expecting it to be like more than it was, and it just like dragged so much.
It was
and
so
like
slow.
Yeah, there was so much exposition, and like it didn't need to be as long as it was.
No.
And I feel like, yeah, it just needed a really good round of editing. I feel like just one more round of editing and it could have been great.
Yeah, I think so too. I did finish it. It was hard.
Yeah.
This book, I discovered Word Runner on Kindle while reading, because I was like, there must be a faster way to get through this fucking thing. And
yeah, which I feel so bad because I love Cherie Dimaline.
I know. But I did take a few notes whilst reading. And my first one is, so Lucky's family is a damn hot mess. Because, frankly, they were. Her mom, hot mess. But that's okay. And, okay, so most of my notes from this book are just quotes of like notable moments or just like funny lines. And the first one was, most people would be uncomfortable with that kind of exposure, but Jay liked looking out over his kingdom while taking a shit. Page 44. Because he has glass walls in his bathroom. And he lives in the desert.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I was like, okay, Jay, go off. It was weird. It's like, all right. And another quote is, this one's from page 104, and it says, well, she was great. Of course, lesbians usually are. Jesus, Stella, you can't just say things like that. And it's giving Mean Girls of, you can't just ask people why they're white.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, she's not wrong, but all the lesbians I know have been great.
Yeah, same. I love lesbians.
We love lesbians over here.
Yeah. A lesbian friendly zone. If you're a lesbian, come hang out.
Yeah.
I I have a note that says Hex the Patriarchy is a bomb chapter title.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. Even just like, especially with all the symbolism around women being witches.
Yeah. And I did love that the witches in this book are sort of unique to themselves and their location and their ancestry. Like Lucky used teachings from her mom, who was Métis, with like putting cedar in her shoes and her socks for protection.
Yeah.
So I did like that, and I liked that the witches were individual in that sense, because obviously they weren't all Métis. Like
Yeah.
they had their, each of them had their own thing going on, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's one thing that I love about Cherie Dimaline is that she does that, where she puts little pieces of the Métis culture into the stories in a way that documents them, which is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And also in a way that like is accessible, like without compromising that sanctity
Mm-hmm.
of their practices and the culture and things like that. And I think that she balances that really well, and that's something that I've always really appreciated.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's my note on that. I like that she does that a lot. She does that well as well in the Marrow Thieves too.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it has to do with language in the Marrow Thieves.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, that was probably like the most sort of like literary analysis note that I have. However, okay, throwback to episode 1 when you said that you read the first sentence and the last sentence.
Yeah.
The last sentence of the epilogue in this book, it gained a whole star. Okay.
Really? What is it?
The absolute best part of the book was the epilogue.
Really?
Yeah. And so the quote here is, "Seriously?" he cried. "Oh, fuck me." Yes, the mother smiled. There were teeth in that smile. "Seriously, fuck you." I was just like, oh.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is why we love Cherie Dimaline.
Yeah, that part alone
yeah.
was,
yeah,
it made it worth getting through. Like, this is not a book that I would read again, to be clear, but I did absolutely adore the epilogue. And my overall thoughts were, I like that this book took a different take on witches, and I loved who the seventh witch turned out to be. The feminine energy came through in this book in so many ways that I found it very wholesome, especially with Stella. Even when she wasn't all there, if she saw Lucky asleep, that girl was getting tucked in. I was expecting a little more physical fighting. However, watching Lucky come into her own was very well done.
Yeah, as a coming of age, I feel like this was doing a good job of that. And then it also did a good job of like the main part of what I did read that stuck out to me was the memories of her and her mother and their relationship, like Lucky and her mother, and when she was a kid and her relationship, and just like the way that her mother would make the best of what they had. I actually had a highlight, but I liked that relationship a lot, and I feel like there was a lot to be said for that. And it sets up like where the relationship began. The quote was, "Standing on their bed at 4 a.m. with a head full of whiskey and a desperate plea in her dark eyes, Anya was at her softest." Of just this like mother-daughter intimacy and the way she knew her mom and the way they interacted with each other, and how like heartbreaking but still beautiful for what it was, that relationship was. Appreciated that a lot.
Yeah.
That's why this is a softie enough for me. Of like, this is not the vibe for me right now. And it was really slow and kind of hard to get into. But there are some things I know that I will appreciate about it. So I'll just pick it up again another time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have Michelle's thoughts. And so she said,
Michelle,
love her. She said that despite popular opinion, i.e. Jess, I really enjoyed this book. That pacing was really well done despite a slow start, and I was on the edge of my seat, excited for the new discoveries and scared because of the bad person. I really enjoyed the character diversity. Same. The book invoked my feminine rage and made me wish for some of the power these characters have. Who am I kidding? I want all the power they had. There's a heartwarming sense of community fostered in the pages as well. I tore through the book, unable to put it down. So it is some people's cup of tea. It might not be ours, but it could be yours.
Well, I think it could be my cup of tea under different circumstances and in a different mood, because I'm very much like, I'm heavily a mood reader. Like if I'm not in the mood to read a certain book, I like cannot get into it. And so I think that this just will take, like, I'll just pick it up another time.
And you'll probably fly through it when you do.
Yeah, probably when I'm in the mood for it. Yeah, definitely. That's why it's a soft DNF, because I know that this is the kind of thing that I will appreciate. And I do love Cherie Dimaline's writing, and even just listening to Michelle's comments, those kinds of reviews are very common for Cherie Dimaline, like the community and like the feminine rage and or even just like the general rage of abolishing oppression really comes into it, and it's always very empowering, and I really appreciate and enjoy her writing for that. This was just a bit like of a slow start for me, and so I couldn't get into it, but maybe another time.
Maybe. So yeah, that was VenCo by Cherie Dimaline for week 2. And moving into week 3, we had either a horror or a thriller book, of which we chose Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell, which I came to later realize is actually like kind of trending right now. A lot of people are reading him.
It was a long time ago because it was a Reddit. It was published originally. He just wrote it on Reddit. It was a Reddit story.
Shit.
It wasn't like a published book. And so like for a long time, it was really popular.
Oh, I heard it might be getting picked up for a movie in the next 5 years or so. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, I hope to God they deal with some of the issues with it before they make it into a movie.
Okay, well, do you want to read the description?
Yeah. The description is: a romantic cabin getaway doesn't go exactly as planned. High up on the windswept cliffs of Pale Peak, Faye and Felix celebrate their new engagement. But soon a chorus of ghastly noises erupts from the nearby woods. The screams of animals, the cries of children, and the mad babble of 100 mournful voices. A dark figure looms near the windows in the dead of night, whispering to Faye. As the weather turns deadly, Felix discovers that his terrified fiancée isn't just mumbling in her sleep. She's whispering back.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, this here it says originally a contest-winning story on Reddit.com's horror community, No Sleep.
Damn.
So this was a No Sleep story.
I didn't even know that. That's so cool.
Yeah, so that's how it started.
Yeah. And okay, this was, for me, 5 stars.
Yeah, I knew it would be.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I was thinking about it even when I wasn't reading it, and that is a sign of a 5-star book, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it heebed my jeebies. It made my skin crawl. It made me hunch my shoulders up because I was freaked out on the bus. And I was making faces. Strangers probably thought there was something going on. And let me just say, right off the bat, I trust in Carrot the Parrot.
Yep, Carrot the Parrot.
Yeah, I love this book. I even have a note from 40 pages in that just says, the title just started making a scary amount of sense.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the body horror aspect because, like, when Faye was basically possessed in her sleep and was just doing, like, some demon-ass shit. Oh.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, this is going to sound nasty, but the vomit stains were the monster and like shaped like the monster, slowly making its way closer and closer to their bedroom. I thought that was super freaky.
Oh, yeah.
Or like the dream catcher made of like bones in the woods. Yeah, just so many just like freaky deaky little moments added together that like I flew through this book. I think I read it in like 3 days, and that was while working and in school. So that was really fast.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I've got one quote here from the first oh fuck moment that I had.
Yeah.
Or the first like real big oh fuck moment. And it's from page 139. It says, Faye rolled toward me so that our noses touched. Her eyes were open and rolled far back in her head. She smiled and ran a fingernail across my cheek, pretending to carve ribbons of flesh. She reminded me of a butcher delicately assessing a fillet. "They're gonna kill you," she whispered, then licked my face.
I highlighted that too because that was horrible. I hated that. I hated that. And actually, okay, so I annotated this heavily.
Yeah.
And my note on that quote, let me find it. Hang on. I know I have it.
I read that on the bus and I made such a face that I literally like made this like disgusted, angry face and then like realized I was doing it and had to like physically reset myself because I was like, strangers are going to look at me.
Like, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So the highlight, I highlighted, "They're going to kill you," she whispered, then licked my face. And I literally just wrote, "You're kidding."
I know.
You're
Think
joking.
How scary that would be to be in bed with your fiance, the love of your life, have her eyes rolled all the way back, whisper that, and then lick your face. Like I imagine her like fully like all the way up.
Yeah.
And it was just like I would leave the house. I would leave the house. Simply, I'd rather sleep on the sidewalk. Be like, "You can do this. We'll talk in the morning." Because I can't handle this right now.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I gave it 4 stars. It lost a star for me for a couple of very specific issues, but the horror aspects of it killed me. And I don't read horror, okay? I don't read horror. I'm not a horror reader. This is not my genre, and this book just reminded me of all the reasons why. Not because it's bad, but because I hate it here. I don't like this feeling. I don't like it. It really
I love it. Oh my God.
It did such a good job with the horror and like making me feel like it's literally ink on paper, and I'm sat there like and I read it at night most of the time too because I don't have time during the day. It was terrible. And so I annotated it, but all of my annotations are just me reacting to these things and also just cracking jokes to make myself feel better because I needed to cut the tension somehow. Like I just could not deal with it.
This is why I love reading books pre-annotated by you. It's all reactionary.
Yeah, I'm just cracking jokes and making one-liners in the margins. Yeah. So like, let me read you some of my annotations. For example, page 8, absolutely not.
Full stop.
Yeah. Page 14, famous last words.
Yeah.
Page 15. Oh, so cute, so romantic. You're gonna die. Page 19, absolutely fucking not.
I love how close together these all are.
Yeah. Page 24, no thank you, friend. And then page 27, absolutely not. Page 28, beautiful. You're gonna die, bro.
Straight up. Facts.
Page 33, fuck that, actually.
Fair.
That was my note. Yep. Then page 41, nope.
And this is where the title starts making sense.
Yeah. Page 43, fuck the creepy kids. Page 47, I hate it here. Also page 47, stop it. Page 54, blech. Like, and it just goes on like that.
It just keeps going.
For the rest of the book.
For all 300 pages.
Yeah. There's a whole slew of that. And this is just all like me in the dark, just going under the blankets, being upset. Yeah. Yeah. And then, there was another time where, okay, you remember when we annotated Finley Donovan is killing it? And absolutely, I was like solving the mystery before.
Yep. Like 2 pages ahead.
Yeah. I had that on page 91. I highlighted, when I returned, I saw Faye baring her teeth up at the ceiling and gently caressing her face with her hand. And the note I wrote was, testing out the new body, no doubt. Because she was possessed. I could sense a possession coming a mile away. Then immediately page 91, Faye slid her fingers over her face for 2 or 3 minutes. It almost looked like she was learning about her own appearance for the first time. And I just wrote, see, testing out the new body.
Yo, if there's one literary superpower that Hannah has, it is knowing exactly what's going to happen maximum 2 pages later.
Yeah, like I can always figure it out. I can always solve the mystery.
It's very fun. It's very fun.
Oh my god, I just have a note that says ew. Oh yeah, that was when Faye like started eating. She was eating weird, and like she had like these weird meals that she was having, and it was pieces of onion fell from her lips as she did. I looked closer. It was just eggs with onion. Too much onion. And I just wrote ew.
Yeah. Ew.
Oh, yeah, and then there was one time where on page 100 it says instead she hummed a familiar song, but I couldn't remember where I'd heard it before. And my note was, hello, my brother in Christ. It's familiar because the kid was singing it at the cabin.
My brother in Christ. There is no Christ in this book.
Are you dumb? Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then here I have a note that says in response to Faye on page 101 when she like reacts really badly to something, I just wrote, uh-oh, volatile mood swings, weird eating habits, I sense a possession.
That's funny.
Like, it was just so eerie and like so creepy. And it yeah, and with the voices and like the things they're saying and like it was so creepy. Maximum jeeb.
Yeah, maximum jeeb.
Yeah, I will say, for me, it lost the star from one, I hate Felix. Hate him. He's an idiot.
He's not very logical.
It's very obvious that he would have dismissed Faye's experience had he not also heard it.
Yeah, true. Also, the fact that he's named after the author weirded me out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it was originally a Reddit thing, right?
Yeah. And like, I know it's like, it makes it almost more intense in that way because you obviously know that the author's name is Felix Blackwell. And so it makes it so that it's like a real person in the story, which kind of elevates it a bit. But that definitely threw me off to start with.
I just couldn't sympathize with him. I didn't care. Like, there was one point on page 154, it says, against my better judgment, I bundled up and trekked across the open field behind the cabin. And my note was, okay, now if you die, that's on you and I have no sympathy for you.
Yeah.
Like, fair. He's just like, sir, what are you doing? Yeah. So yeah, that's one where like, obviously, and there was one point where he's like, maybe it's all in her head. And then he goes, but no, I dreamed, I saw it too. So it's like, I can tell that you would be dismissing her if you...
It's like you would love to gaslight her out of this, except you can't gaslight yourself.
Yeah. And so the fact that he would gaslight her out of it pisses me off. The second thing that made it lose the star for me was the stereotypical Indigenous mystic trope.
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Didn't like the way that it was handled.
It's like they were trying to make it like they were trying to be Cherie Dimaline about it.
Yeah, except like you can't do that. like it, yeah, it just bothered me. Also, like the only people who die on page are the only natives. 2 Indigenous characters.
Yeah. True.
That bothered me.
Yeah, Tiwei. Oh, that was so sad.
Yeah, that bothered me. And Felix being like dismissive of Faye also bothered me. That's where it lost the star for me. However, it was very effective horror. So
effective horror. Yeah.
I couldn't take off more than that, but it did really bother me. I didn't like it at all. And for the film, I really hope they deal with that. But like, I feel like the novel really just needed a sensitivity read. Like, it needed sensitivity readers. Yeah. Like, there was an obvious attempt.
Yeah.
But that's where it lost the star for me. I don't like Felix, and that annoyed me a lot. So it's 4 out of 5 for me. Because I like, all that being said, I did like, the horror is well done and it is well written. So good.
Yeah, it scared me.
Yeah, okay. It scared me too. I have to give it credit for that.
Oh yeah. Maximum jeeb.
Yeah.
So she says, this might be the first book that has scared me so much that I want to stick it in the freezer, Joey Tribbiani style, to hide from it.
Oh my god, I love Michelle. Because like, real girl, me too.
Yeah. Alas, I was reading a digital copy and couldn't do that. The book also made me love a parrot, and as a person who is afraid of birds, that was impressive.
Oh my god, yeah, Carrot the parrot.
Carrot the parrot. We love Carrot the parrot around here. This book very quickly established the story, the creepy factor, and then the fear. The pacing was amazing, and I definitely put the book down several times out of fear, but was drawn back to the story. I needed to know what happened. Highly recommend if you want a little or a lot of spooky in your life.
Yeah. Agree on all counts.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. There was one point I literally threw my phone across the room. I was like, nope, can't do this. I actually think I made a note at some point where I wrote, okay, this was fun. I'm out. Like, I can't do this.
Joey Tribbiani
This
style.
is not my genre of choice. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell, our horror selection, which brings us to our fourth and final week of the Readathon, which was a haunted house book. And so for this, we chose Burnt Offerings by Robert Marasco. It was described when I looked it up as a classic horror from the 70s. I don't know where I read them, but I read good reviews when I was Googling.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. Let's start with the description. Yeah. So the description is: Ben and Marion Rolfe are desperate to escape a stifling summer in their tiny Brooklyn apartment. So when they get the chance to rent a mansion in upstate New York for the entire summer for only $900, it's an offer that's too good to refuse. There's only one catch. Behind a strange and intricately carved door in a distant wing of the house lives elderly Mrs. Allardyce, and the Rolfes will be responsible for preparing her meals. But Mrs. Allardyce never seems to emerge from her room, and it soon becomes clear that something weird and terrifying is happening in the house. As the suspense builds toward a revelation of what really lies behind that locked door, the Rolfes will discover that their cheap vacation rental comes at a terrible cost.
Okay, two things. One, Mrs. Allardyce was not in a distant wing of the house. She was right down the hall from all of the bedrooms, so don't know what they mean there. She was not that distant. She was right there.
No.
So, one, they're wrong. Two, what revelation? Okay. Nothing is explained. Nothing was revealed for me to revel in. Okay. This book, I gave it 3 stars because I can see sort of where it became considered a quote-unquote classic horror. I wouldn't consider it a classic horror. I think it just is considered that because the movie came out like less than 5 years after the book was published. And so, yeah, it was really slow. A lot of the time it was just like, okay, where are we going with this? Turns out we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I think out of all the characters, like, I think Ben was the most intriguing with like what was going on with him psychologically, with like his hallucinations of like the black limo. But like, even so, it could have been a little more. And I'm glad that it was only 170 pages. I would have been mad if it was more.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I feel like we also did this one a disservice by having it follow Stolen Tongues.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Stolen Tongues was so gripping and so like
and this
creepy.
Was like, okay, you know when you shake a woman's hand and she like barely touches you and it's just like, oh, I went in way too hard on that handshake. That's what this book was like. Okay.
Yeah. I gave it 3 stars because it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
But it is forgettable. And there isn't a whole lot going on.
They don't even tell you what's behind the door at the end. It's just Marion's entire family is gone and now she's the old woman. But it's like there was even sounds behind the door. The humming never explained. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of loose ends.
Tell me how this house influences people like this. I want to know.
Yeah, what's the lore?
Yeah.
Give me something.
And yeah, there was no lore, and that pissed me off. That's where it lost, like, all of the like, between the pacing and the lack of lore. That's where it lost me.
Yeah, fair. Because, like, again, following Stolen Tongues. Stolen Tongues had so much lore.
So much lore.
Wasn't handled that well, but it was lore. And yeah, so like there was so much there, and then so to read this right after, it's like, okay, I guess it's fine. What bothered me as well is like the book is only 11 chapters long. Mm-hmm. The first 5 chapters are introduction.
Mm-hmm. Like,
you mean to tell me that I'm halfway into the book? I'm halfway into the book, and nothing has happened.
Yeah.
It lost me there. Like at least, like, it didn't even have there wasn't horror. There wasn't a lot going for it. It's just like fine, I guess. And I'm learning that I don't like the relationships between couples in horror. I don't like the way they go, and I don't like, I don't know. I don't like them. I didn't like the relationships.
And it's like, I know that the book is supposed to be like influencing their relationship and putting stress on it, and is like kind of pushing them psychologically to like do things that they wouldn't normally do, like when Ben is like throwing Davy in the water, or when Marion loses her shit at Davy when he breaks the crystal bowl. Basically Davy is just getting the short end of the stick here, but
poor Davy.
Yeah, poor Davy. But like even that, I feel like was poorly explained. Like you don't really get that it's a house influencing this behavioral shift until you're like looking at it as a whole picture, and you have to get through the entire thing to be able to do that.
Yeah, it honestly is very much like a no plot, just vibes, and the vibes aren't that great.
Yeah, I think overall
that's how I felt.
That's a good summary of it.
Yeah, no plot, just vibes, and the vibes are okay.
Yeah, the vibes were just fine.
It's a book. It was published.
Yeah, and now we've read it. Michelle has also read it. She finished it.
Oh yes, yeah, Michelle.
Last night.
Oh my god. I want Michelle to pre-read all of my books. I want this. I want her thoughts on everything now.
She like hauled ass for the last end of the readathon because technically like everyone has until end of this week, and we just finished early to record. But she finished early with us because I told her what day we were recording, and she was like, okay, bet.
Oh,
yeah, it was really sweet. And so
that's great.
Yeah, so she deserves every shout out she's gotten this episode.
Love Michelle.
Yeah. And so her thoughts on Burnt Offerings were, granted, I was rushing to get through it, but it might be my least favorite of all the books. Same.
Real. I DNF'd VenCo and I still liked it better than this.
Rip. I want to give some caveats since I think that was influenced by the rushing, which is my fault. Also, the TV show, not the book. Side note, if you've read the book, I'd love to know your thoughts. It's so different than the TV show. I'm assuming the TV show caveat.
Yeah.
Maybe. If I'm wrong, please tell me.
Yeah. Michelle, let us know.
Because I know there's a movie about this book, which is also 3 stars.
Okay.
Yeah. I found the pacing awkward, with the beginning being really slow and a bit of a slog. Same. And for a short book, I found that surprising. I found it hard to like either of the main characters. Marion was vapid, obsessed with knickknacks and fancy furniture, but also boring. Again, I think that was the influence of the house, but agree.
No, she was like that before they went to the house.
Yeah, the house just like amplified it, like an obsessive amount. Ben was aggressive, so bad at communicating. I mean, they both were. And was making choices I couldn't get behind. Also, just drag out your wife if you're afraid of the house. Make sure Ryan saves my ass if that happens. I don't care if it seems like I want to stay.
Oh yeah, they left her there in the end, right?
Yeah, they left because Aunt Elizabeth died, and he's like, well, we got to go to the funeral. And Marion was like, but Mrs. Allardyce, I got to make her 3 meals a day. So she just stayed at the house.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that they acted fucked up because of the house, but I'm talking about their actions that seem to be of their own volition. I will give it props for how the buildup went. Once the madness got started, I think it was a unique tale and left enough mystery that I'm still annoyed. Yeah, because nothing was answered.
Yeah.
I love me a tidy ending wrapped up in a bow, one of my many flaws. I don't think that's a flaw. I think this book should have had a bow at the end, and it simply did not. It had a frayed ass piece of ribbon loosely thrown over top of it because nothing was explained how I desperately wanted it to be. Like, I read that book assuming that at the end I'd be like, oh my God, it all makes sense now. And that moment never fucking came.
Yeah. Take notes from Felix Blackwell on that one.
Yeah. Like, he wrapped it up in a bow, fancy as fuck, like the kind of bow that you could never make as a regular ass person. He did it.
Yeah.
Robert Marasco did not.
Not so much, no.
So, thanks a lot, Rob.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for nothing, Rob. He's become like public enemy number one with this podcast. Yeah. We have beef with Rob.
God, Rob. Fuck Rob.
I'm so sorry, Rob, wherever you are. Or just like this author, I'm so sorry. I'm sure you're like, I'm sure you're lovely. We just didn't love your book. I'm sure you're fine.
I have opinions.
About the book,
yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Burnt Offerings by Robert Marasco. You could read it, but you get the exact same experience just watching the movie. And even then, I probably wouldn't recommend the movie.
Like, yeah, it was fine. Like, there was enough going for it that I didn't remove more than 2 stars. But because the way that I rate is I start at 5 and then I go down based on if something happens that bothers me or something like that.
Yeah.
There was enough for me to finish it. But I just, it was fine. I just gave it 3 stars. I wish. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many things I wish.
It was just fine.
for this book.
Period.
It's crazy that this one I managed to finish and then VenCo, I just like couldn't do it right now. It just wasn't in the mood.
I think it helped that this was less than 200 pages. So it's like there's a very clear end in sight.
Yeah, I managed to finish it solely because it was that short.
Exactly. Yeah, I would have been mad if it were not.
Yeah, because like this one in VenCo, it had that same sort of like, okay, there's a lot of introduction, there's a lot of exposition. It's like, okay, get on with it. But like VenCo is just so long. So that'll have to be when I'm in the mood for it. But yeah, this one, I don't know. It was fine.
It was fine. Yeah. So yeah, that is the conclusion of our spooky readathon.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll make it an annual thing. It might be fun. I really enjoyed doing this. I had a lot of fun with it.
You and I also never buddy read because we don't read the same things ever. And so, it was nice to like, and it's nice to be able to chat about it and and all of that. So, yeah. So that, I think it was good overall. I think, I think Burnt Offerings was my least favorite. And then VenCo, and then Stolen Tongues, and then Spookily Yours. I like Spookily Yours the most just because like it was like a fun time. What problems are you gonna have with it other than that it's Hallmark?
Mine was like lowest rating to highest was Burnt Offerings, VenCo, Spookily Yours, Stolen Tongues, because y'all know I love a good freak out.
Yeah. I did rate Spookily Yours and Stolen Tongues the same. But I think that I like in terms of enjoyment,
vibes in your heart.
Yeah, vibes in my heart. Spookily Yours, I liked it more. I, like Stolen Tongues was also just hard for me to get through. I read 3 romance novels in the time it took me to get through Stolen Tongues. I read like 9 books this month.
She's back, baby.
Yeah, with the romance post breakup. Yeah, it was good overall. I think. I think Stolen Tongues would have been better than Spookily Yours if it didn't have like the couple of things that just bothered me. Yeah, because it was an experience, I will say.
It was. Yeah. So cool. If anyone else read these books or read books relating to our prompts, we would be thrilled to hear about it. Might be cool. Just saying.
Hint, hint.
Yeah. And so if you did read anything, you can tell us all about it on Instagram or Threads at badlyannotatedpod, or you can email us at badlyannotatedpod@gmail.com. And you can find all of our streaming via the link in our Instagram bio. And with that, Happiest of spooky seasons. Scary wishes.
Sincerely, Jess and Hannah.